Kill, kill, kill. I'm a murderer. Kill, kill, kill. I'm a murderer. Kill, kill, kill. I'm a murderer. I'm gonna kill someone today. Okay, let's go kill Satoku's uncle. Why does it keep flashing? I don't know. I keep tapping out. Maybe that's why. Sunday. Yeah, it's the day to kill. The fireworks I heard before noon were probably to announce the opening of the festival. And the weather certainly wasn't, festival weather, it was cloudy. The television forecast was calling for possible downpours starting this evening and lasting until around midnight. But as long as it wasn't raining at the moment, the festival would go on. The festival had to open, or it wouldn't begin. The Furudu Shrine grounds were probably decorated beautifully with a big performance that only happened once a year. Many paper lanterns were hung up, all in conspicuous colors of red and white. The sound of electrical motors at the store, the voices of kids running around, the happy families watching them smiling. Today was the festival at Tatarigoroshi. Was everyone already partaking in the festival? What about Satoko? Had she forgotten her days of suffering just for a few moments, while smiling that brilliant smile she hadn't so long? This would probably be the longest day of my life. It would be a day I would remember vividly for as long as I lived. I told my parents I would go to the festival this evening and lounged around during the early afternoon. We have lived under the same roof, but they couldn't help by being surprised by the deviation from how I usually spend my time. Glancing at my parents, out of the corner of my eye, I went to the front door. I should have tied my shoes just a little tighter than normal, as if to express the firmness of my resolve in those knots. When I decided to murder Satoku's uncle, I was in such a state of excitement I almost went crazy. And when I was planning out the act of murder, which went directly against all the moral fostered in me thus far, I was in such a state of calm, I almost thought I had lost my emotions. And then yesterday, when I learned Satoshi had made the exact same phone call as me, I didn't know how to describe the mental feelings I had then. And now entering today, right now I liked all the emotions I'd possessed until now. To make a simple analogy, it was the kind of feeling you might get after you wake up when you're still half asleep and you don't feel anything very clearly. I had no anger towards that man for the violence he committed against Satoko, nor did I feel sadness towards or sympathetic with her. I felt no discontent towards my friends who had just waited and watched, never reaching out to her without any help, and no nervousness or fear towards the day that had finally come. Yes, right now you could say I was in the best possible condition for carrying out a murder. When it came down to it, I would probably need to let my violent emotions take control, but right until that moment I would be like an insect. I would slowly, surely and silently move towards my one objective, and then when I had my prey I would attack like a bullet. There was no emotion in there, just the creeping mindset insects possessed. That sort of sneaking feeling was just the best. I'd kill Satoku's uncle like he was a worm. I had to laugh a little at thinking that way. Thinking like an insect. Tug. I tightened my laces one more time and walked out the door. I pulled the shovel out of the front storeroom. I would need to dig the man's grave. The shovel was a convenient one made for camping. If I twisted it like so and split it into three, I could easily hide it in my bag. I twisted the shovel and dismantled it. Even though I've done it countless times before, I had trouble for some reason. Like, I was suddenly clumsy now. I knew why. It wasn't because I was nervous. My weak-willed self deep within me was hesitant. I knew that the act of dismantling this shovel was the first step I would take to becoming a murderer. Oh. The last twist was conspicuously difficult, but I finally submitted before the strength of my determination. The area around Satoku's house was outside my circle of activity, but even just riding my bike in the middle of the day like this might seem suspicious to an observant person. I definitely don't want to avoid a meeting and talking to somebody that I knew. With that in mind, I chose the route to my destination carefully. I didn't mind going the long way around. With how long this day would be, I could never be too careful after all. Still, I was fortunate enough to not cross anyone on my way to the planned site of the crime. I wasn't superstitious at this point, but it was a good omen. The place I would dig the hole was in the grove a little further into the woods. I was worried I might not make it to the same place as before, since there was no sign to guide me, but I arrived there smoothly and as expected. I took another look around, not even a hint of human presence. The air was a little damp, but it was comfortable in the cool shade of the tree. I took the dismantled shovel out of my bag and began skillfully putting it together. Then I stuck the tip of the shovel into a soft-looking patch of ground and pushed on it with my foot. The shovel would split into the earth if I put some strength into my foot. The act of doing so seemed awfully like the point of no return, and it made me hesitant. I was just digging a hole with a shovel, but it made me go hard. Calm down, Kichimabara. Let's do a countdown. Get it down on the count of 3, okay? Alright. 1, 2... I couldn't do it on the countdown. Despite just sticking the shovel into the ground, I had to count down 5 or 6 times. Damn it. I'm just digging a hole, this is pathetic. As I thought that, I put strength into my heels and I was stepping onto something unpleasant, and split came the sharp sounds. Split? Split. Why is it splitting? Oh, you're dug finally. Oh? It was only stopped at the beginning. Roots and stones quickly getting out of the way, informing me just how hard it was to dig a hole big enough for a person. No decent person would ever come here anyway. Maybe it would be enough to cover him up with some dirt. Every time a naive thought like that crept into my mind, I bit down on it with my teeth and dug even harder. I've dug enough now. I could hide him like this. Every time I thought that, I would go down into the hole ground, grow, disappointed at how shallow it was, and return to digging. A thin layer of sweat on my brow eventually formed into drops and fell into the ground. My back was even worse shape. My damn shirt adhered to my skin, and I felt disgusting. The things I couldn't stand the most were the mosquitoes. Maybe they were attracted by the scent of my sweat. The white and black strip mosquitoes would cling to me whenever I let my guard down. It was hot, it was disgusting, I was sticky, I was itchy. All those uncomfortable feelings surged through me in waves. Damn it, all. So what? Are you telling me to pack up and go home? Is that it? I hadn't yelled at anyone. It was me talking to myself, me telling myself something. Why was I feeling this way, and digging a hole all the way out here? What benefit would digging this hole give me? What harm would there be in not digging this hole at all? Why in the first place, who ordered me to dig? When I thought it over, maybe ever since grade school, or even before that, my whole life had only been me doing what other people told me to. I didn't mean it was somehow constrained, living a life just based on the commands of others. And I didn't mean I was too lazy to try and find my own road in life. Metaphorically speaking, yes, it was like a road. I've never been particularly physically fit. I didn't hit puberty very early, and if all my classmates and I got in a line, I would usually be on the shorter end. My scores in jump rope competitions and marathons was the picture of average, and it wasn't like the captains of the dodgeball team would have a passionate rock paper scissors contest to see which one would got me. During those kindergarten and grade school years, it felt like someone was only worth how fast they grew and how fit they were. Looking back on it, now it was really uncomfortable for me. The thing that turned all that around was just a few words from my mother. Kichi, would you actually go to a cram school? You'll better grasp what you're learning in school and it'll be more fun. The very first test I took at cram school was kind of like a game. It was a lot of fun. It wasn't like a test with the exact same problems dozens of times in a row. Every question had a picture on it, almost like one of those puzzle books that came from manga magazines. If my studies at school had been like this, it would have been way more fun. 7 days later, I went to cram school again with my mother and the enrollment paperwork. Mom and the person at the cram school had a really long heated discussion, so I accidentally dozed off and missed most of what they said, but I can remember one point. Mom had made a loud groan, surprised at something. By 61, do you mean his average score was 61? You're not at all, Miss Mabada. That means the deviation of our cram school all across the country is 61. He's showing rare numbers. Even if this was just a simplified intelligence examination. First, I would like to say that Kichi Mabada is extremely bright. Kichi? But he doesn't have very good grades at school. He has average marks on his report cards B's, C's, and D's. Is that some kind of mistake? We gave him the Krell-Pelion test as well, but we learned some very interesting things as a result. I don't know what that is. Mabada-kun is extremely weak when faced with questions that don't have any meaning. He just has no interest in simple adult questions that don't have anything to do with everyday life. So, even if he doesn't know what 2 plus 3 is, if you told him he had 2 apples, and then got 3 more, he would understand that sort of question. That's right. For example, instead of telling him to draw a flattened fold of a cube, what if we asked him about a dice that looked like one cut open? If we did that, he could answer beautifully. Then the person from the cram school showed her a page from one of the exams I took. It was a paper with questions about construction. Construction questions were unusual, so they were really cool, weren't they? In this question, it asked to draw an unfolded irregular isohedron, a shape with 20 faces. When we rephrased it and asked him how he would cut out a piece of cardboard to create a 20-sided die, Kichi couldn't draw the answer as though it was easy. This is not something an average child can do. Kichi, have you ever made a dice with 20 sides from a magazine extra or something? The dice only went up to 1 to 6. I've never even considered before this test that there was dice with more than 6 sides. So I was trying to imagine what kind of shape a die that went up to 20 faces would have. Well, I definitely couldn't do that. If I had a die like that, I would win at dice games against anyone. I don't think you could use that then, so I immediately wanted to make it. Finally, I entered cram school. There were only 4 students in the entire class they put me in, which was called Select. It was the highest class, and some of my classmates were in lower classes. I remember how much better they had done at things like dodgeball and the meter sprint. I felt happiness well within me for the first time. Even if I wasn't as good as them physically, I triumphed over them in other ways. It was fun at first. The more I did, the more I was praised. My teachers at school suddenly started pampering me, and it felt good. My parents were satisfied too. I enjoyed seeing them satisfied. The more I listened to my parents' commands, the more fun things I got. That did happen, didn't it? I grinned dryly in self-deprecation. Because, well, my studious life didn't end up lasting very long. It was only at the beginning that I enjoyed learning more and more. I gradually got along less with my friends. My classes were behind what I was learning in cram school, and I eventually stopped respecting the teachers and given that they could put me to sleep with their lectures. And while I was a disagreeable sort who bragged a lot about how much he knew, and the ways of the world wouldn't let me remain in that state of ecstasy forever. I would do as I was told, then I would go above and beyond their expectations, and then they would praise me. I was happy for that, and the cycle repeated itself like the wheels on a bike. I thought moving forward like that was how life worked, like a bicycle. When I moved to Himizawa, I realized just how inadequate it was. Something happened, and we started saying how moving and getting a change in atmosphere would be nice. Then my father, he had a place he liked that he'd gone to a few times to draw nature. Or Himizawa. He started saying that he wanted to bring his atelier there. What's that? Is that what he draws on? Is that what it's called? With me and blank amusement, they decided to move to Himizawa. And after that, I met them, didn't I? The first day after transferring here, I went to the classroom with the teacher. I thought it would seem pitiful for her to bring me in there, so I placed my hand on the door before she could, slammed it open, and stepped foot into the room. But the thrilling, powerful way I opened that door was none other than my own determination to try doing my life over again. And then, within seconds, that determination took a hard counter to the face. A blackboard eraser fell on me. Plus there was a huge rock inside. It was a supplementally painful trap someone had set up. Oh come on, Satoko, was it already beating me right from the first day I transferred? That frightened me. I was bewildered. The class was surprised too. I wasn't just surprised that the students in the class were all different ages and different genders. It was because the group felt completely different from the schools I knew. As I spent more time with them, my surprise continued to grow. This fresh sense of surprise had never left my life, even to this day. Every day was a fresh, new surprise. I've never had a single boring day since coming here. The days were lively, spent with the other club members. We played old maiden cards with scratches on the back of Tuchi. We let all our passions go wild during our games. We went all out as regular participants in tournaments at the toy store in town and many, many more things. So we did go to the toy store. I'm guessing I gave her the doll this time. Recently, during those times, there was the bento competition. It was then. That's when I saw an unexpected side to Satoko. Thinking back on it, I only ate dinner with her 2 nights. It was a sweet, gentle time spent, and it warmed my heart remembering it even now. I realized that Satoko was pretending to be stubborn and firm, and how brave she was, part of her heart always waiting for her Nini to come home, and I vowed to become a Nini. Satoko may have been nagging and overly critical, but she knew how to take care of someone. But though it might have seemed like she was taking the lead, it was actually her way of depending on upon another person. You know, Satoshi and Satoko's siblings were confined by their uncle and his wife. They were so warm, sunny days. When did those sunny days all go wrong? What mistake was made? Lamenting tragedies of the past would do no good, and I told myself that so many times, but I did anyway. Kichi, isn't that why you chose your own path, to take back that life? Nobody ordered you to do this. You decided to take on your own. You don't desire anyone else's praise for this. You thought it all through yourself. You'll carve it out yourself, and you'll do it now. That wasn't a path I could see very far down. Not like the road parents or society could offer. It was a narrow path, dark and utterly distressing, one for which the next step would always be shrouded in darkness. But that this hastening path would keep on going forever. It was an ultimate path, an unlimited path, and there's no way I couldn't travel. Nowhere I couldn't travel. The kind of path only available to those able to imagine where they wanted to go. Don't be ashamed at breaking from the brightly lit paved road. In fact, feel proud that you found your very own path to walk. And I hadn't discovered the paved road either. Once I achieved my goal, I would go back to that bright road, and then I would spend those average sunny days at my leisure. Crush. When I next realized the hole had grown so deep I couldn't believe it. Did I dig all this myself? I think digging this much is enough, right? Put my shovel into the bottom of the hole. Now drag the body here, then throw it into the hole and cover it up with dirt. Even if it took me time to camouflage it by putting plants on top, it would go much more easily than digging this whole pad. I think anyone will be able to find this kind of easy, like, look at these freshly dug up plants. I glanced at my watch. If you just did like a simple sweep. It was almost evening, and I hadn't realized it. It may not have felt the time passing, but digging a hole this deep must have taken quite a lot of time. I took a seat at a slanted rock nearby, and wiped the sweat from my brow. Now, once it got a little dark, I would go get the metal bat I hid in the schoolyard. Then I would make a call to lure him out, and then I would do it. The number of things I needed to reach that moment were dwindling. I felt that moment closing in on me much more keenly than I did the passage of time. I didn't have any hesitation, but I still felt that a contradiction. At every moment in this process, I had a few chances to hesitate, to turn back, to let myself lose my nerve. Having to endure those million temptations and wait for when the moment time was right was an indescribably slow and painful torture. I had thought myself acting all weak because of that, but I stopped midway through. This was okay. It was fine. I could detest the abnormal acts of homicide as much as I wanted, and it didn't matter. I wasn't going to be a cutthroat killer after today. I would pass through this strange day, go back to the world I was in before. If I fell to the level of a psychopath who thought nothing of killing, I wouldn't be able to go back to my old life. So this was fine with me. I didn't have to feel ashamed of hesitating to kill, because I was human. It's funny to me that I would be the bearer of Oishida-sama's curse at the same time I was aware I was human. I exhaled lightly and stood. I concealed my presence and sharpened my senses in all directions to search for anyone around me. Okay, let's go. One step at a time. I would walk my own path. A path no one had forced me to walk. How do you sense around you? Like, do you just try to see if you can hear anything? Wait for a couple seconds. Let's do this, Kichimabara. The cicadas made an annoying fuss. Their core was covered by the suspicious noise of me breaking twigs under my underfoot, and their course filled the path far ahead of me, letting me know I would be alone for some time. The cicadas blessed the path I walked, encouraging me with every last ounce of strength they had. The sky was far above. In not even an hour, the veil of night would draw near. The sky would be tinted with dusk. By that time, the Higurashi will let me hear their chorus in place of the cicadas. When that happened, would everything be over with? Would everything have ended? I said something along those lines when I left Satoko's fate up to the public agency, but this time was different. I would do it. I would carry it out. I would end it. It would all be over very soon. What was that? Yes, when the Higurashi cried. Am I, on top of where the Furuji Shrine? Is that what this background image is? Or did I just not move and it's just trying to show all of Himizawa? Because it should show like a lot of images really quickly. I don't know what that was. Higurashi when they cry. Ready? That's like what, 20 minutes in. Okay. Oh, I didn't read that. There's nobody at school, okay? I couldn't hear the playful voices of children. This was the first time I've seen the school with such a lack of human presence. Well, yeah, it's Sunday. It's also the festival. Like, why would anyone be here? Still I quieted my breath and looked around, not wanting to be unprepared. It had gone darker outside, but it was almost like my eyes could see more clearly now. I went up to ensure my safety, then walked to the heavy construction building I'd hidden the bat behind. I had a tinge of worry, a premonition that somebody had found the bat and hidden it somewhere else as a prank. If that happened, would I take that as an opportunity to test? If it really wasn't there then, the sensation of chilled metal, it was still here where I left it. It hadn't run away. Satoshi hadn't run away. He waited here patiently for me. Sorry for the wait, Satoshi. It's been a long time coming. You prepared for this? Though the metallic touch, Satoshi grins at me. In my mind, through the metallic touch. That's why I should be asking you now. I did this last year already. You should be more worried about yourself. Right on, Satoshi. Let's show him a bad time. Satoshi's bat got lighter and lighter and fit into my hands like he was being absorbed. It didn't feel wrong to swing like this. I could move it around so naturally, it was like an extension of my own right arm. Of course it was. It felt like that. Right arm. Satoshi and I were holding one bat together. Next I would make the call to lure the man out. It wasn't a bad time for it. Well, are you going to be a hospital attendant or are you going to be a police person? My friends were doubtlessly parading happily through the stalls. Is the door even unlocked? Like, wouldn't they close the school? I hadn't considered where to make the call from. My house and Satoko's house were pretty far apart. If I called from my house, I wouldn't make it. I thought you could do the school since you're right next to it. Couldn't use the school phone? But as I thought, the room was locked up and I couldn't get in. Yeah, you can't get in. I guess you have to go to your house then. You can't really go to Satoko's. Maybe Venus or Mion, they could have left the doors unlocked too. Shit. So naive. You should have at least figured this part out. I couldn't call him. And just for that, was today all over? I'm sorry, Satoshi. And just as I cursed my own naiveness, a miracle occurred. Actually, Milan's house is too big, so maybe Arena's would be the best. Because it's like slightly closer. A bicycle came into the schoolyard. It was a familiar middle-aged man. The one from the Forest Service field office. Why? Was today Sunday? Is he here to pick something he forgot? Lucky. Anyway, the forest officer went around back and felt around in his pocket, then unlocked the door and entered. The best possible coincidence, and it had to be Satoshi who saved me. Yeah, obviously the bat saved you. The bat, we just made contact with it. It told me this was a chance and I couldn't allow it to slip by. The sections for the forest office and the school were neatly separated. I felt the man head into the forest office storehouse, which was far in the back. Students weren't allowed into. The door didn't match its fittings well, so it didn't close all the way. The gap in the door opened slowly, as if to lure me in. I took a deep breath and went in. Hope he doesn't unlock the door whilst you're inside of here, otherwise it's gonna be like, whoops, smash a window. I tiptoed along silently and stealthily and made it into the teacher's lounge. That was the one place with the phone. As I held my breath in the teacher's lounge, I heard the private service officer walk back over. Then the door that had shut and was locked. See, now you're locked and you have to break a window open. I glanced out the window at the schoolyard and watched as the man got on his bike like nothing had happened and rode out the school gate. The school once again emptied, becoming deadly silent. You could also just open a window and crawl out, I guess. I waited for a bit to make sure that silence was the real deal, then reached for the telephone on the principal's desk. I reached Satoko's house phone's number out of my pocket. Yes, the number in the class directory for Satoko had been the one for their house now, where she lived with her uncle. I tossed it down with my fingers and then thought for a moment about what to say exactly when he picked up. Despite how many times I've gone over it in my head last night, now that I had my finger on the dial like this, it started to seep out of my mind like a cracked bucket leaking water. Simple would be best. More importantly, to say it straight and not sound suspicious. I counted off 3 heartbeats on the dial. The cool sound. Would Satoko's uncle pick up? Now of all times, the hope that he wouldn't pick up and the feeling of doom in the knowledge that I couldn't save Satoko if he didn't rolled around in a vortex. Hello? It was the voice of a grumpy man, like he had just woken up. He picked up. Hello? Say your name so I know you're Hojo, you asshole. It would be terrible if I got it wrong. I made up my mind. I had all the initiative on my side. Here we go. This is the Shinobon Okinomiya police station. Am I speaking to the Hojo residents? I was changing my voice, but did he really think I sound like an adult? Would he believe I was the police? Oh yes, this is Hojo. You currently have your daughter Satoko Hojo here with us. What? Satoko? What did that brat do? He fell for it. I could tell how tense he was that he didn't doubt my words. I can explain the particulars once you've arrived here. Would you mind coming to the station right away? Right now? I already took a bath myself, so I don't really want to go out like this though. What? You don't want to come because you already took a bath? Yes, right away. Right away? Jeez man, what the heck does Satoko do? I'll explain once you're here. I'll be waiting. Thank you for your assistance. Ugh. 1 second. I don't know where the police station is. Where am I going? You moron, what the hell? Okinomiya police station? I don't know where it is either. Aren't you from around here? Why don't you know that? The sweat came over my body. Eventually, just as I was about to choke, he spoke. Oh, next to the fire station, right? That's pretty far. Thank goodness he remembered on his own for me. I didn't care where the police station was, so long as he left his house to get there. Then, we'll be waiting for you here. Oh, wait. Who am I asking for once I get there? What is your name? On top of that, he wanted to know my name? Just leave your goddamn house already. Mebashi. Excuse me? That was close. I almost thought that he gave him my real name. I managed to change the last syllables of it though. I put the receiver down like I was running away. My fingers were trembling and I was soaked with a trepid sweat. I wasn't just nervous about the phone call, but that call everything had finally been put into motion. I left the school. How did you get out? Did you go through the window? It was like before, but it was easy enough to open from the inside. Oh, okay. So it's like a one-way lock? I couldn't lock it again after I left. In terms of being thorough, I wanted to lock it, but I couldn't waste time going back to the teacher's lounge and looking for the key. I needed to rush back as fast as I could and ambush him. You could have looked for a key, you know, before you made the phone call, but whatever. Soon back to the scene on my bike. If Satoka's uncle got out of town before I got there, everything would be over. He'd learn there was no one at the station named Ebashi, and things would get pretty messed up. As we returned at full speed, I passed a family wearing yukatas. They must have been on the way to the festival. When people in Himizawa knew my face, though, I didn't know theirs. Even just passing by like this made me uneasy. But I didn't genuinely come around here, so those living in the area might not know much about me. That didn't matter right now. I need to get back as fast as possible to control my breathing and to ambush that man. I hid my bike in a tricket and picked up Satoshi's bag, which I had just left hidden in the shade. Then I held my breath waiting for someone to come. I wondered if he still hadn't gotten here, or maybe he went right after the phone call and only passed by here. I couldn't figure out which it was and was set upon by an indescribable impatience. How do you even know it's him? Like, what if someone else is just coming down here on a bike at the exact same time? Calm down, Kichimabara. Even if he came here already, if he passed by here on the way back by, the end result would be the same. It wouldn't change the fact that he would die. He'd probably be coming on his motorcycle. How would I stop him then? I figured it would be best not to think too hard and just hit him as he passed, or beat him out with his seat. The path was made of marble pebbles. If I hit him as hard as I could and made him lose his balance, he wouldn't be able to help falling. And then, of course, the Higurashi stopped. The sound of a bike approached from far away. I couldn't tell what sort of motorcycle it was from its sound, but I'd seen it parked before, so I'd know. It was getting rapidly closer. It was almost here. If he went just a little farther, it would cross into the tricket and appear in front of me. I'll take that moment to make sure it was him. Then when I had, I put my plan into action. What if you just miss him and he just drives away? The motorcycle appeared. A few easily identified characteristics told me it was Satoka's uncle's bike without a doubt. Was it really him? Was it really Satoka's uncle? I wasn't making a mistake, was I? I looked at the characteristics again. Its color, shape, and most of all, the man's clothes and face. Those last feelings of hesitation, I did away with them. I guess it is him, I guess, or one of his friends. Because he did say he took a bath, so... But it would make more sense to go as for himself rather than sending a friend to pick up Satoko if it was really that urgent. Satoko, now your Nini will end it, okay? Closer goes with the bike came closer. Let's go, because he doesn't want to make himself look bad. Satoshi, yeah? Whoosh. I jumped out of the tricket. I used my shoulder to basically tackle the uncle on the bike with all my might. Wow. He gave a dumb shout as his bike completely lost its balance. Finally it fell. The bike scattered clouds of sand, and after spinning it stopped. Uncle tossed it to the ground and didn't understand what just happened and groaned for a few moments, crouched on the ground. My breathing started to become ragged. No, I couldn't have this emotion. Some weird secretion crossed through my brain and nearly made me hallucinate. My uncle was groaning. That was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. What was I doing? All the sound of the world cut off. My mental chaos from a moment ago withdrew like a lie, and I could feel the temperature in my head rapidly cooling down. Tension in my muscles all went away, like the strings that been attached had been cut. I let my hands dangle at my side. It wasn't exactly... It wasn't quite like exhaustion. Well, you mean like you just felt like you're flowing with the world or something? Have you, calmed down now? Kichimabara? Do you need to remember again why things got to this point today? Scrape, scrape. I stepped over the pebbled path, taking one step, another step, then another towards Satoko's uncle. The more I walked, the more my breathing calmed. The more I walked, the more I felt my body cooling, calming, chilling with frost. Yes. This moment this guy had lost the permission to live. I had just resigned it. Oh. He only has 1,500 seconds left to live. So he mustn't stay in this world any longer. If he's lived any longer, if Satoko's uncle's misfortune continued, it would be my responsibility for having allowed him to live. I could feel the cooling substance going through my whole body, even down to my capillaries. My uncle was at my feet now, sitting on the ground like an idiot. I smiled coldly at how ridiculous he looked. Ugh, that hurt. Cough. That's all it took for it to hurt? Zoko's heart hurt so much and now you're going to feel that. And with your life I'll make up for her pain. I erased all unnecessary information from my mind, and prioritized the murder of this man. Execute, execute, execute. Wham. Utterly calm, I delivered my first strike to the back of his head. I wanted to get it at the most effective spot, at least during the first motion I would have to attack him, while he was at his most defenseless. Ugh. And if he was hit in the head, he would cover his head. It was a defensive reaction all humans made like machines. He'd used both hands to cover his head so he couldn't pick himself up off the heap he was in on the ground. Like pounding the caterpillar into the dirt, I hit him over and over. If he covered his head, I would hit his sides. If he covered his body, I would go for his head. If he rolled over, I would strike his feet, his knees, his elbows. I don't care where anymore, but just delivering one blow after another, I induced panic into him. I retained my overwhelming advantage, but I hadn't done nearly enough damage to deliver a fatal wound. Uncle skillfully pulled himself off the ground and started to run like a fleeing rabbit. It wasn't a judgment he'd made after seeing my face and decided whether to define me. By now he was fleeing by instinct, just trying to escape from the threat that presented itself. A counterattack from the more physically capable uncle was what I was most concerned about. He may have run, but it wasn't all that unlucky. And the odds were in my favor. The uncle didn't run towards people, but off the path and into the woods. How pleasant that he would run into a direction where no one else was. He was being into strange geography, like a rat that instinctively runs into tight spots over and over. Yes, he was no longer human, he was a rat. The blood vessels in my leg expanded and my total oxygen supply increased. I lowered myself to gain the most explosive velocity I could. Without breathing, I became like a wind-like shadow and dashed without breathing. I crossed thickets, crushed dead tree branches underfoot and drove through the woods like a bullet. He didn't trip over anything, that's nice. He ran so cowardly, arms flailing as he went. After catching up to him, I didn't need so much as a blink of an eye to strike him again. Thus, my senses, mind and body were all sharpened purely to kill this man. This was the first time I'd felt like this. Well, this was the first experience I've ever had killing someone. It felt natural. Continuing to do this for the first time. And that I meant I had this much talent for killing. But the act of killing was so simple that anyone could do it. I didn't struggle to grow tired at all chasing the clumsily fleeing uncle. No matter how much he ran, it was like trying to get away from his own shadow. He couldn't get away from me. I could easily aim at his back, his shoulders, and his head, even from this unnatural stance. Each time I struck him, he wailed in pain and begged pitifully for forgiveness, but it didn't disturb my mind. I was neither excited nor plagued by hesitation like before. I felt sharp. I felt like a carnivore. Of course, so did the uncle, who was trying to run away, because he didn't want to die. He didn't want to be eaten like a herbivore, when gorillas might try to get away. Despite all the attacks, despite all the hits, he kept on fleeing without even staggering. And despite the bad footing in the forest, he impressively never tripped over anything. There's no need to admire that fact. It was simply proof that he was no more than an animal. Same to you. You didn't jump or anything either. If he was a chase, he would run. If he was going to be killed, he would run. He bared his fangs at the weak, but couldn't oppose the strong whatsoever. He was slowly vulgar, a diminutive animal. Such a puny little creature had harmed Satoko. Scar after scar through her mind and her body and mind deep wounds. The mind not even go away as long as she lives. Hell, heal. Oh, it's red. My cold and calm emotions suddenly turned into beastical ones. My personality changed to something specialized for murder, purely to devour the diminutive animal before me. Yeah! The uncle gave a puny little shriek, covered his head and ran. I'm impressed by how much you can run. Fine, but run as much as you like. I will be your death. I will choose the moment at my leisure. Your legs will hurt, your lungs will feel like they're about to burst, your head will hurt from lack of oxygen. If you feel the pain has become worse than death, then by all means stop any time. Without turning back, suffocating on his terror of the approaching death, he just ran shamefully onwards. He ran, but he was chased. His head bashed with his metal bat, sweat and drool flying everywhere, blood clinging to him. From his moment came the sounds of coarse, irregular breathing and high-pitched screams that verged on tears, and pleas for forgiveness to someone I didn't know who. Each and every second was a second of atonement I granted him. Now run, then fall and moan and die. Where did you crawl out from anyway? You were never here before. If you were never here, you should never have showed up. If you never showed up, our lives would still be fun and enjoyable. We would have gone to the festival, waited for each other, and gone to the shrine laughing. We would have played amongst the stalls right by now. We would be browsing the strange food stalls, going to our festivals and trying to get prizes from goldfish scooping rings or target practices. We would surely make it into a competition, and we as a club would have a grand time. I would do that in both the other timelines. And everyone would be cheering for Rika's dedication dance, and everyone would have say how fun it was, and it would give us energy for days to come. Fun, enjoyable, and funny. A warm time spent with friends. And that would have happened, but it didn't, and now it was all smashed to pieces. There's no doubt that would be what the world was like if you never showed up. You were the obstacle, the mistake, the heaviest thing in the world. But I would correct that mistake now. I would erase you and make it so this last week never happened. Now was the Higurashi festival, the holy night where the taking just one life was permitted in the name of Orishida-sama's curse. It looks like the Higurashi stopped crying at some point. When Higurashi cried, everything would end. And the Higurashi silenced. Lowly one, the hour of atonement is at the end. The Higurashi has stopped their cries, thus it is the end. The end. You don't have to run away anymore. Die with those dirty brains of yours smashed everywhere. Gra. Is he dead? Ooh, rain. Lightning and thunder struck like an explosion. It was so loud, it shook the ground and I smelled gunpowder. The response I got this time was clearly different from the one before. I went back, plunged into the crown of his head. It was like the top of his head had carved in. The bat felt like it was biting him. It had been the final killing attack that visited him. When I didn't overlook the opening, he leapt at his knees and gave out under him. I remained alert for a few moments. Then thud. I planted both knees in the ground, and then fell forward, burying my head in the ground. I've been holding like my ragged breath, but now it had all come out like a dam bursting. My head hazy and light, and unable to maintain my balance, I leaned against a nearby tree. The uncle didn't try to guide his head any longer. After a disgusting sort of spasm, he stopped moving. Did I get him? Did I get him for sure? I fell back, my exhaustion urged to fall over, where I stood and drew towards him carefully, but still at the ready. It's possible he was faking it and trying to wait it out. Should I check for a pulse? I realized right away though how necessary that would be. If I thought he might be faking it, then I would just have to keep plummeting him until I was satisfied. I put my back my baggage breathing. Then I swung my bat far above and put it down. Clunk. His body leapt like a bow, but he didn't try and cover his head. And once again I aimed for his head and swung. His reaction was the same this time. After spending a few moments making his head into mochi, his hits gradually started to feel different, and it started to spray a filthy dark red liquid everywhere. That was enough. It was definite now. I'd absolutely killed him. There was no sense of accomplishment, nor one of regret. I didn't feel angry towards Satoga's uncle, nor pity towards Satoga herself. Instead, right now I was feeling like my heart had been stolen by the downpour. It began to rain at some point, and how comfortable it felt. The rainwater drenched my body and dripped down onto the ground. The excitement within me faded as the rain washed away the grime of the night. In exchange, my shoes were also wet. They made a splashing sound. And despite abusing Satoshi's bat like that, it wasn't bent very much. There's a few dents in it probably from hitting the man, but nothing that would make it seem different from before. Instead, I had been stained with black, with red, with mud and blood. But that stuff would be evidence. The one piece of evidence needed to prove that my delusions hadn't just been daydreams, and that had ended Satoga's uncle for all eternity. Alright, Sakichi, calm your mind. This time, the time for passion is over. Now is the time to be cold as ice. I needed to bury the body, but where was I? I simply followed the man as he ran into the darkness. I couldn't take a guess as to how far we run. It was already pitch black around us, and the only light I had to go were the very faint lights on the road a little farther down. It was so dark out, I didn't notice the darkness until just now. My vision was so good I could see the man's ugly hairline. I could have counted the pores in his head. It was only until now I realized how much crazy strength I must have mustered at that moment. I went over to the streetlight and looked down the road, desperately trying to figure out where I was. This is... oh no. This was the road connecting to Himizawa to the town. We were unbelievably far from Satoga's house. And the two of us really went to a far distance. My surprise at that was accompanied by a knowledge of the miraculous fact that despite running so far and making so much noise, we hadn't come across anyone at all. There was a long way between here and the ambush location where I dug the hole. There was no doubt I could carry the body that far. But aside from that, the bike the man took here was still lying in the middle of the road. That would be an issue. The police could tell whose motorcycle it was looking at the license plate, and they wouldn't just leave it at that. Thankfully the course was in a dark forest. In terms of urgency, being with the bike would come first, and I wanted to get the shovel back from where I left it, next to the hole. I shouldn't drag the body there. I would have to deal with it right here. Fortunately, the ground was like emerged from the downpour. It was more sludgy here than where I was before. I might be able to dig a grave quickly here. Of course, my bicycle was still be over there where I left it too. It still wasn't over. Homicide had only been half of my goal, but the half would be just as important as the first. I would completely hide the body, not allowing the beginning to happen. I would erase the man like he's never existed, and regain the peaceful times we'd had before. I bent my head backwards and calmed my mind even further. The big water droplets struck my brow mercilessly. They were actually quite comfortable, and for a while, I let my desire have its way. After confirming that I was sharp again, I started running through the rain. The motorcycle was in the grass at the roadside. Considering how it looked pelted with rain and covered in mud, it actually seemed like it had been lying there for a long time. Oh. The plan was to drop the motorcycle into the swamp. The swamp was a bit of a walk from here, and we ran all the way back. I lifted the bike up. I didn't think it would be so heavy. I was a little surprised, but once I had it upright, it was fairly easy to roll it along. Still pushing this thing all the way to the swamp was really not something I wanted to do. I can no longer ignore my exhaustion, and it warned me numerous times of how far away the swamp was. This motorcycle, I wondered if I could ride it well enough. As I got got it going would basically be the same as a bicycle. I wouldn't get into the swamp much quicker. The plan suggested by my exhaustion, the anxiety, getting out on my motorcycle for the first time with Rude. Turn the key, then you just kick this pedal, right? Yeah. Boom, boom, it's on. And then I grip the handbars first, the right, and then the left. Whoa. Maybe I twisted them too much. The bike lunged and did a really like an angry horse. I lost it for a second, but it was just a problem of how much torque to apply. Let's try that again. This time slowly, gently. That time it went well. It was strange to be on a two-wheeled vehicle that would go even if I didn't pedal. Very odd, but I got used to it quickly. Someone once told me you could get a license within a day, and she was clearly right. This was pretty easy. I needed to throw the metal bat into the swamp too. But I didn't know how I would pack the bat onto the motorcycle. Without much of a choice, I stuffed it into the back of my shirt, looking like a ninja carrying a katana. If I put the tip down the seat of my pants and held it over, it wouldn't pull out. I got back on the bike and this time got going without any difficulty. I carefully pushed the button labeled light, and a rather strong light came on, illuminating the way forward. I really shouldn't have turned it on, but I didn't have any way of seeing at this point, and zero confidence I could right through this darkness. As the rain came down, I maintained a cautious balance and inched my way towards the swamp. Along the way, I ran across a few people who seemed to be returning from the festival. The more they were interested, when none had any interest in me, they were either all soaked with the rain and hurrying on their way homes, or they had their umbrellas low and their head down. Yesterday, I might have been wary of even those passerbys, but right now I didn't seem to be much cause for concern. In fact, it'd probably be less suspicious to be riding out in the open like this instead of sneaking around. More and more though, I started to think of that as naive, was only about my exhaustive state. I climbed up the steep hill. Oh, this is where the school is. On a bike, the hill would have put me out of breath, but I just had to accelerate a little bit to time the entire thing. Motorcycles sure are convenient. For a moment, these lights illuminated the sign before I passed by it. When you got Ushi Swamp, good children do not play around here. Still, it wasn't like the way to the swamp was cornered up by a metal fence or anything. Parents and teachers would get mad if they found out you were playing by the swamp, but some of the bad kids in my class apparently snuck out here, trying to see the giant crayfish in the place. They would talk about it, and how they would go to this candy shop and buy some pickled squid, then just tie it to a fishing line and throw it, and all the crayfish would come running. Once I got up to the bank, there was a tiny ritual shrine and traditional ropes on one of the trees. And as I swallowed the downpour howl, the blackened swamp had waited for me. If I slammed on the accelerator from the cliff, like the stop I was on now, the thing that would fly straight into the middle of the swamp. I had to be careful not to fall in with it. If I drowned and disappeared, man, what a stupid ghost story that would be. I don't know what Higurashi's Toko's uncle corpse found in a trinket that they were leading to town. Teacher and brother were missing. Few would whisper I'd been demoted away. The 50th curse would be a half-fake one. I got off the bike and twisted the accelerator as hard as I could. And I let go just when it seemed like it would drag me forward. The bike shot off the cliff and was swallowed down into the swamp, leaving a far fainter splash than I'd imagined. The surface was being plummeted by the downpour, and the muddy, filthy water was flowing into it. I couldn't even make out the motorcycles are just thrown in there. It was pretty heavy after all. It would be quickly engulfed by the soft mud at the bottom of the swamp, and it would be quickly pulled deeper and deeper until it reached hell itself. I felt no reluctance whatsoever in throwing the man's motorcycle down to the land of the demons, but I did have a tinge of regret when I did it with Satoshi's bat. The muddy water washed off the gore sticking to it, and it sunk easily. I sort of shared today's events with Satoshi, so I wanted to give it a quiet place to stay. That's how I felt. I started to feel more like returning to the Rucker from before, so I could continue to watch over Satoko. Satoshi, Probably, well, misunderstood you. Satoshi listened quietly without nodding. I'm absolutely convinced now. You were the one who beat your aunt to death last year and saved Totoko. Everyone scorned you and called you a coward who ran away, but I was wrong. The rest of the world, some deviant was behind that incident, but I know that was something you did for her. And then you disappeared to the rest of the world. You finally got back the peace and lost it within days. So I swear to you that I will live to the fullest for now. Live it enough for the both of us. I will live on through this week. This day never happened. You haven't got rid of the body though. You're just not gonna dig a hole then? But I will never forget this short time we shared together for as long as I live. I didn't know what expression Satoshi made as he listened, but as someone who had protected the same girl, I felt like he smiled and gave me his blessing. And then, my hand moved on its own accord, and the bat I had hesitated to throw away left my hand and flew into the air. It traveled in its parabolic path, spinning all the while, and the swamp was absorbed without a sound. Not even a sloop sound. There wasn't even any ripples when it hit the surface. Strange. The surface was tempestuous because of the downpour, and the bat had long gone. A moment of regret having drawn it. But I realized that might have been what Satoshi had wanted. You're right. I still can't let myself get into emotions just yet. I would return from my shovel, get on the bike and dig a hole for the body and bury it. Oh, okay. It seemed like a sequence of events. I felt extremely exhausted and I had to do it all tonight. You know, a good way to stop a beginning from happening is actually not burying the body. Because what's the point of burying the body? They're gonna do a search anyway. So they probably are going to find it. Like if they come across what the body would be. So just like, you know, don't do that. Like, all they would really find is just that the body was beaten to death with a bat. And they won't find the bat because you put it in Higurashi swamp. Honestly, I think you should have just returned it to the locker. Like, just clean off the blood and then put it there because no one would check there in the first place. So it seemed like a pretty normal thingy. But I felt extremely exhausted and I had to do it all tonight. So she left me with only the advice that I need to finish this upon soon. Think of it this way. The school is probably still open, so you can probably just go in there. Like now. Like just clean off the bat and then go back to school. And then just go home. Then I fell silent for eternity and disappeared at the bottom of the human's abyss. The only bad thing is that people may have saw you when you're on the bike, but yeah. I turned to the path I had ambushed her uncle on. My bike was hidden sleeping in the bush, and I stood it back up. My whole body felt heavy, but I needed to finish by the end of the day, and if I had to whip myself to do it. But I forgot something. I didn't just come here for my bike. The shovel was here too. Not good. I was zoning out. Every once in a while, if I let my guard down, my vision would come completely black. Please I'll forget to Kichimabara. It's still not over. It's not? I went into the grove of trees and looked for the hole in which I would hide the shovel. Fortunately, I had deep in the forest, not wanting it to be seen, and now everything was black in the night, and I couldn't see anything anymore. Like, if you want to blame it on the curse, why are you even burying in the first place? Which is, like, another reason. Like, not only does it create more evidence, and like, makes you more suspicious that you're not going to be at home, and you're probably going to be more agitated if you get questioned the next day because you can be a lot more tired. But it doesn't really make any sense. I reawakened my fading consciousness and realized how big this annoyance really was. Wait, you can't be serious. The sweat the rain washed before came back up to my skin, deep in the forest, where the street lights could never reach. The fact that it would be so pitch black and had been completely out of my calculations. With this much darkness, even if I had been able to kill him right away like I planned, I didn't know if I should still have buried him without a problem. What should I do? I simply couldn't find the shovel tonight. If I force myself to go deep into the forest, I'll lose my sense of direction and might actually get lost in there. That might have been an exaggeration, but it's fully possible I would trip over a tree root and sprain a muscle. You're right, my house. My house is a storage room. There was another shovel there, the same fold-up kind. Couldn't I go there to the house, get the shovel and give up on finding the shovel tonight? It's not as though the name Mabada is written on the shovel, but it seemed like an unusual item for an import variety store made in the country, so I didn't want to leave that shovel here. When there's darkness, I couldn't do anything. I should give up and go back to the storage room. And there was an electric lantern in there. If I used that light, I could go look for it. But it was so extremely dark. Could I light up the way with just a lantern? A lantern in this dark night might. I couldn't discard the possibility of it drawing eyes, and I doubted if I could find the shovel with the lantern's feeble light. Besides, I left the body there for a pretty long time already. My sense of fear dulled to excess exhaustion, finally rearing its ugly head. Anyway, for now, the most important thing was to hide the body. A shovel being found wouldn't be a big deal, but a corpse? If they found that, I would share the same fate as Satoshi. Let's go to the storage room at home. Then I'll get the lantern. Now that it's gone this dark, I might still need to light to dig a hole for the body too. I would just get the other shovel, and then I would deal with the body first thing. See, now you're just getting more evidence. Like, why? Once I was done, I'd come back here, find the shovel and bring it back. If I had to do at least that much, but I was so tired. I don't know, like, if you really want to get rid of Satoshi's bar, you could have, like, I don't know, you could have put it to the dam's construction site actually, because that's like a dumping ground, isn't it? So, just take the bat home for a couple of days, and then just, one day just go to the construction site, but like, carry the bat in a container so no one can see what it is, and just dump it there. The complaining was getting me nowhere. If I started getting complacent now, everything will have been for naught. At some point I had sat down. I gritted my teeth and enjoyed lifting my heavy hips. The night was young. Of all the nights I had experienced, it had ever been this long. When would it all end? The night was young. It certainly was. Higurashi when they cry. Wait, is that the end of the chapter, or are you gonna keep going? I don't know actually. Oh, I think it's going maybe? Yeah, it is going, okay. The lights at home were dazzlingly bright. Suddenly they reminded me of how hungry I was. I checked the clock and I saw that it was almost 7. I thought for sure it was 2 or 3 in the morning already. I was surprised at how messed up my biological clock had gotten from just this one night. There's a warm light coming from the curtains in the living room window. The worlds between here and what was beyond those curtains were so different. The world. If only that man hadn't shown up, I would have been in that light. I'd still be excited for the festival, and I'd be talking to my parents about how much fun I had with all my friends. And then, even though they made a hot meal for me, I would have eaten way too much at the store, barely eaten any of it, and gone back to my room. Like, you could have just done that if you just didn't leave this much evidence. No doubt I would crawl into my futon and easily let myself fall asleep. But right now I was completely different. There wasn't a single ember of warmth from those weak streetlights. Right now I was unconnected to any time spent with my family. There was neither warm food nor the time to allow myself to sleep. Save. My body exposed to the cold rain, I knew that I simply had to spur myself on to accomplish what I must. I realized how timid and how cowardly I was becoming. For what reason did I need to kill someone, even if it felt this terrible? I lost sight of my purpose. I selected the fastest, most fundamental way of saving Satoko, and executed it without hesitation. That man was dead. He certainly was, but you can't do much about that. He was gone. He would never ever hurt Satoko again. We all thought frantically for days on end about Satoko's problem, and finally with no options, we gave up and I had to solve it in one night, by myself without anyone's help. Right about now, Satoko would be having dinner with her uncle, and despite not knowing when he'll return, she might be spending the night trembling in fear of whether he'd yell at her for how it tasted. But uncle wouldn't return home. Wouldn't have to fear his wrath, nor let him make her feel sad. I see. I did it. I successfully saved Satoko. All I've been thinking about for a long time was killing that man, and I forgot the feeling that it was actually for Satoko. It was all actually to save her. I did. I did something good. That's right. I did something good, didn't I? I felt hot tears streaming, coming from my eyes. And that's when I first realized that the exhaustion I'd been feeling was actually guilt. A blade of guilt for a while now had just been scraping away with its tip, hurting my heart. It hurt so bad I couldn't stand it. It was throbbingly painful. It hurt so much it was so painful that I cried. I cried tears of joy at saving Satoko. I didn't know really why anymore. I just cried. My tears fell and fell. As I stood there for a while, coming to terms with those warm tears, my heart was comfortable for a while. You're right, Kichimabara. That's enough. There's nothing to regret or feel ashamed about. Both my body and mind were thoroughly exhausted. That was a fact. It was only natural I couldn't feel anything. Even tomorrow and the day after that I might not be able to feel anything for a while. But there was one thing that was true. There was an indisputable fact that I had saved Satoko. One day we would surely be rewarded. One day I would be proud of how distrusting and an enterprise I had undertaken to get Satoko's smile back. And so that I could wait for that day, I had to put the finishing touches on this night. If I left it undone, everything I'd accomplished today would be for naught. I looked back up at the sky, which didn't look like it would stop raining anytime soon. Then I rubbed my eyes and summoned forth energy for my core once again. I'm going back to bury him, I guess. How long did I plan on spacing out? This isn't the time for daydreaming. Someone could find the corpse at this very moment. The pessimistic thought was proof the very natural emotion of fear hadn't returned to me. Someone's gonna find the corpse anyway. Like, why are you trying to hide it? Like, just digging it up there isn't really gonna get rid of the corpse. This is still gonna create a beginning. You're just denying the inevitable. As I allowed the fear to spur me onwards, I went to look for the other shovel and the lantern inside the storage room. Like, maybe if he was like swept away by like the river or something and his body turned up somewhere else, and like that was a deserted place or something like that, then the beginning wouldn't get started. Or like maybe it's, I don't know, you actually just like hid his body somewhere rather than just in a public place. It's first I remembered what it looked like around the streetlights. The body was near. With how dark it was quite possible I wouldn't be able to look for it either. I didn't realize when I left the place, so the idea of finding the spot hadn't even crossed my mind. That's why I had to feel fortunate that I managed to get back to the body like this. The corpse was located in a big muddy puddle. After the thing had already sunk into the swamp-like water, I only realized afterwards that there was an unused irrigation channel right nearby, clogged with fallen leaves and dirt, and there was rainwater flowing in from there. My shoes had been washed with water for a long time now, so without any hesitation I stepped into the puddle. The whole muddy stream started flowing backwards. Luckily, I couldn't leave any slight traces like blood stains. The rain was like a blessing from heaven. I checked around me, gave very close attention, then turned off the lantern. It became pitch black, and my eyes got used to the darkness in a few moments, and once I managed to reach the street light on the other side, I was able to make even faint lights. I stuck the shovel into the puddle right next to the corpse. The ground was even looser here than I thought, and the shovel tip was easily slid inside it. I had to hurry and dig it. If I took too much time, I might lose my energy and strength again. felt almost like digging a hole in the sand at the beach. It's easy to dig, but no matter what, the muddy water kept flowing in and covering the hole. The digging wasn't going well as I'd hoped. I dug and dug and the water would go in, so I couldn't get the sense of how deep it was. The only way for me to measure it was to bury my own foot in the mud. I'm digging just fine. So if I don't beat this hard, dig. Picture a car come by on the road. I would hurry to hide myself in the trees. Everyone was only passing though. They wouldn't have their eyes peeled into this kind of darkness. I understood it logically, but I still couldn't help but hide. What I was really scared of wasn't quite that one of the cars would coincidentally happen to witness me here. It was at a distance I could spot the cars was getting gradually shorter. At first I noticed the splashing sounds from pretty far away as the cars drove down. I started noticing less and less, and with the car that just passed by I didn't even notice it until its headlights were upon me. I felt my senses growing duller and duller by the second. If somebody were to take a peek deeper as I was burying the body at this worst possible moment, maybe I wouldn't even notice. The moment I thought about that, I took a good look all around me. I roused all my half-asleep senses and searched for any signs of somebody nearby. What if I found out somebody was spying on me from the trees? Carnivorous feelings gnawed at me, glaring. If there was, then I would have to dig in the hole. I'd come this far already. In order to achieve perfection, I didn't care how much I had to pay. I didn't know what kind of face I was making at the time, but it was definitely a fervorously glaring one. 5 senses reached the conclusion, and nobody was present. I didn't breathe a sigh of relief. How long had I been digging this mud out here? It was dug enough for it to go up to my knees. Maybe this was enough. Maybe I'd thrown the corpse in as a test. I swallowed, getting my breath under control. Despite how much I'd beaten him, I was afraid of touching the corpse. So instead I dragged it by the feet to the hole. It took more than just a waggle and a tug to do it, which of course it did. Considering this man's weight, it was easily 80 kilograms. I rallied all my strength and dragged him in. At this point, my groundless fears that he might suddenly start moving again vanished long ago. Wasn't he like drowning earlier? Is that what you said when you found him? He was like covered in water, right? His body built perfectly into the muddy hole. It was more deep than I thought. Alright, let's bury him. Quickly. If I did a perfect job of burying it here, everything would be over. I would hide it in the hole and none of this would ever happen. I realized I only had a little far to go to finish everything. I was racked with pointless anxiety, like I was racing against time. It was like I was absorbed in the delusion that if I didn't bury a body quickly, it might come back to life. In any case, in a great rush I poured mud and dirt into the hole. If I didn't work effectively, someone might come and find me here. So now I figured if someone saw me I would just kill them, but not anymore. I was arrested with such absolute fear that if someone saw me, it would all be over. As I finished the work, it was a total mess. Splish, splash, squish, squash. I drew the surface of the shovel across the ground, trying to make it flat. I was completely covered in mud at this point. The rain washed the mud off my body, but not off my now blackened clothing. My body and mind were caked with panic, with fear, with rain and sweat and mud. Ha 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 ha. Ha ha ha. My shoulders heavied, and I threw down the shovel and sat down in the mud. I was so exhausted that I wanted to lie down by human sleep. It was over. You just have to get home now, I guess. This time for real. It was over. I'm wishing to left the shovel there too. The man was now in the bottom of the wet dirt. Right this moment, there were traces that this place had been dug up, but the rain was and flowing muddy water would completely cover it all within moments. Yes, it was over. I did it. I did it? I did it. You motherfucker. He's dead. Okay. And then I fell over backwards, my face up in the mud. Raindrops fell on my face without mercy, but I didn't care. After staying there for a while, rest of my mind, I got up again. It was over. Let's go home. You already buried the whole thing, and now it's like it's never happened. It never happened, so there's no reason for me to stay out here and get rained on. Okay. Let's go home then. I wobbled to my feet. I wouldn't use the shovel anymore. I considered dismantling it, but I didn't have the strength for my absolute exhaustion. I didn't really need to take it apart anyway. Dragging the shovel behind me, I headed towards the light. I stood up my bike. It had been laying in the grass by the road. I didn't know how I was going to get to get the still assembled shovel into the front basket, but I put the shovel down my shirt like I had done with a baseball bat. Unlike the bat, the corner of it was on my back, making it very painful. Plus, if I relaxed my posture even a little, it would fall out of me. I ended up having to carry the shovel in my left hand and ride the bike when using my right hand. Why don't you just feel that uncomfortable way for a while? Not only was I in a state of total exhaustion, this was a downpour. One hand on the handbars, I was swaying to and fro like a drunk. I didn't care. Even swaying like this, I got a little closer and closer each time I pedaled. I saw two lights swaying slowly in front of me. The car was approaching. Oh no, I need to get out of the way. Far from away in the shadows of the darkness, the car appeared. The dazzling light washed over me. The driver made a short honk of the horn and put me out in the middle of the road. I have to get out of the way. I kept telling myself that, but not only was I riding one-handed, I was exhausted. I couldn't do anything. Wobble. I meandered about, not going to the left or to the right. The driver decided to swerve out of the right and in front of me. Without lowering its speed much, the lead came towards me. Its outline grew larger in my vision, and telling myself again that if I need to get out of the way, I jerked the handrails in one direction, then lost balance and fell, bike and all. Oh, my body splashed out, and one foot got caught in the bike. This was seriously bad. My drowsiness quickly vanished, and just as a cold sweat broke out of my skin, the driver recklessly spun the wheel to the left, made a counterclockwise U-turn, and came right up to me and stopped. The driver's seat opened and the driver came out. "You idiot, what are you doing?" I was pretty sure somebody would yell at me like that. Oh my, look who it is. The woman was worse than one that I knew. I lifted my face off the ground and looked at her. Was it Takano? Takano-san? Hello. Good evening. The moon is very pretty tonight, Mabara-kun. It was raining far too hard to see the moon. Takano-san unfolded an umbrella and smiled as she spoke. The smile was for some reason uncanny, like she'd seen right through me. Out of all the people I could have met, I got the feeling that this was the one I wanted to see the least. "What are you doing out here so late? And you're soaked and covered in mud with no umbrella either. What is that? A shovel?" If you had to come via a car, she wouldn't have known what I was doing, and yet she smiled as though she knew everything. "Calm down, Kichimabara. Truly made that mysterious looking smile, remember? Don't let her do anything lest you dig your own grave. The rumors say you were playing baseball with a golf club. Is that what the shovel's for too? Haha, you're using it as an umbrella? I should tell a good lie here. If I could just do that, things would work out. When I was with Arena to go digging for treasure at the dam, we forgot this there." You went out to get it in this downpour? When I left my house, I don't think it was raining, so... Oh, it's been raining for a while though. You've been out for quite some time, haven't you? Well, yeah, I was kind of wandering around. Even so, you came back from that direction, didn't you? The dam is in the opposite direction, you know? Kano-san was clearly aware that something extremely abnormal was happening with me. Now she played with what was like a little word game. She was enjoying driving me into a corner. Maybe she had a vague guess, just from the situation of what I've been doing. My timing really sucked to run into her. Noble people of the time. It's okay, she's gonna die anyway. But if she didn't die, she would go to figure out it was you, since the uncle... She heard about the uncle's disappearance and the fact that I wanted him to die earlier, and I made it very clear. At the very end, I could only be frustrated at my terrible luck. I've done so much at the end was literally right around the corner. So why at the very end did I run into her of all people? What do you do, Kichimabara? You're still holding something that could be a dangerous weapon. Will you silence Takano-san? Even if it would be simple to kill Takano-san, dealing with the car should come in afterwards would be an issue. I couldn't drive a car. It was completely different from a motorcycle. But even if the car was here, as long as there was no proof I killed her, yes, in tonight's downpour without any prior planning, or by coincidence I hit a run. As long as I didn't drop any handkerchiefs with my initials on them, they would never know I killed her. A black flame quickly smoldered and raged in the core of my body. That's a scary look. Did I tease you too much? The kind of sun started to laugh by herself and thankfully stopped talking about it. But the dark clouds in my mind didn't go away. Even outside, how long were you planning running on the ground with a bike like that? Do you mind moving out the way? If I moved, she would leave. So I tried to get up on the bicycle out of the way, but then twisted my ankle in it and fell over. Ow. Oh shit, ow. Ugh. There was a sharp pain in the ankle I twisted. This was nonsense. A sprained ankle now? Oh my, are you alright? Did you twist your ankle? Kanasan squatted down and takes a good look at the ankle I'd been rubbing. He compares it to my facial expression, apparently trying to gauge how bad the wound was. Can you stand? Yeah. I didn't expect to, but I couldn't even stand up. That's all I could do to seamlessly wiggle on the ground like a caterpillar. I looked out once, then at the car. After thinking for a moment, opened the passenger seat door, and then gave my shoulders something to stand up. Give my shoulders something to stand on. I'll take you home. I do feel bad since it's almost like I hit you. I'm sorry. I wouldn't just leave you here there. It's a good thing I'm a nice person. Ha 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 ha. Nobody's who's ever called himself a nice person. But no one could have ever called himself a nice person, but that would have been a terrible thing to say to someone holding me up like this. I took Kana-san's hand and sat down in the passenger seat. Kana-san went around the back and took a look at the bike on the ground. I don't think we can take this bike home. I don't suppose we can take this bike home tomorrow. I could clearly tell from her face that she thought it would be a pain since it would be heavy and it would get the car dirty. My bike had the name Bala written on it, and I couldn't leave it out like this. Well, can you somehow put it in the car? I sort of need it. The trunk is already full. If I put it in the back seat, it'll get the seats dirty with mud. Well, given how you're already there, it's already dirty, I suppose. I turned back to the seat and see someone's folded bike in here already. It seemed like big enough to fit my bike in there as well. I questioned my thoughts and the exact thoughts seemed to have got through to her. Alright, I'll put it in here for you. I'll be really nice, but just for tonight, okay? I kind of continued with her mean jokes, but he hoisted my bike and loaded it into the back seat for me. Where's Tommy Tak, by the way? Wasn't he supposed to be with you? You're supposed to die together, aren't you? And even more importantly than the bike, I didn't want to leave the shovel here. The shovel could directly connect to the buried bodies on Lee and to me. Sorry to ask another favor, but could you get my shovel too? Wait, are you already dead? Because you said you were dead 24 hours before, in the second chapter. The Kana-san gave me a fairly dubious expression. Your shovel? That's fine with me. Is it important? The more I talk about it, the worse it gets for me. That's how I felt, so I didn't force myself to answer her. Eventually outlasted by my silence, the Kana-san gave a short shrug and sighed. Alright, I understand. You need your shovel, right? You don't need to make such a mean face. Kana-san brought over the shovel that was lying in the middle of the road. I clutched it like I never let it go again. Kana-san watched me with a puzzled look. Okay, let's be off. Mabata-kun, you live at the Mabata mansion, don't you? Why does everyone call my house the Mabata mansion? Because it's actually a mansion, it must be nice to be rich. As she spoke, the Kana-san pulled the handbrake and stepped onto the gas. After making a skillful U-turn using the shoulders of the road, she steadily increased its speed. From the rearview mirror, the accursed place to melt into the darkness. Right? Huh? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. What was that? Kana-san suddenly tried to say something to me, but thoughtlessly I didn't catch it. Looking ahead, Kana-san said the same thing one more time. The body. Huh? How well was it buried? I thought my heart might beat out of my chest, but I didn't let it show. My lungs were breathing tired and I couldn't breathe. What are you talking about? When burying bodies in mountains like these, you have to bury it fairly deep because wild dogs will often smell the corpse and dig it out. Some human bones, a wild dog bringing back in its mouth, into an incident being uncovered, the police head to a stretch of the mountain. Actually, happens pretty often, you know. Pound, pound, clang, clang, clang. Huge rustle bells started ringing in my head. But I buried it so deep that I could say it absolutely wouldn't be found. The answer was no. I was in such a rush to bury him and get over with. I couldn't deny having possibly buried it too close to the surface. No, wait, that's not... Anyway, this woman, how does she know? She just passed by here by car by coincidence. We ran into each other by coincidence. She had been watching the entire thing from the trees, and once I left. She came back in her car and it doesn't make any logical sense. So then why? Kichimabara. That's it. You need to kill her. Again. My entire body reawakened and I could feel my pupils dilate. I couldn't possibly beat her to death. Please travel in such a tiny car. Then I would use my hands and strangle her. But she was driving right now. If I strangle her, we might get into an accident. Dangerous. Then suddenly Stakhan-san turned around and looked at me. What? No witty retort? For a moment I was surprised what she was talking about. It would seem we're not a very good match. Stakhan-san said, disappointed, returning her gaze ahead. I repeated the words she said a few times in my head and finally realized she meant it as an off-color joke. I didn't know whether it was really a joke, but I wouldn't be able to fool her no matter how many lies I told. Right now with her driving like this, I couldn't kill her. I would have an even harder time doing it when we got back to my house. That moment we met, that had been my best chance, and to have missed it so easily hurt. As the Stakhan-san didn't say a single word, I was completely buried in an absolutely suffocating silence. What kind of woman had I run into? Everything that happened, I managed to pull it off, and at the very end, I just had to go home and go back to sleep. What bad luck. It was getting slightly darker and darker. Were you falling asleep? As my sleepiness gradually took over, the anxiety I felt steadily started to matter less and less. Is this video about Kichimabara? You probably should not leave this woman alive. Right now I'm tired. She stepped on the brakes and I jerked against my seatbelt. That woke me up. I thought I might have fallen asleep by accident. That's your house. I looked out the window and there's a big building with faint lights on. It was really dark outside but I knew immediately it was my house. I'll go get your folks for you. Would you mind the place for a few moments while I'm gone? Don't make fun of me please. Besides, look, I'm fine now. I can walk for myself. Oh my. You were in such pain before that you had to let me carry you. Do you just want a pretty lady to be nice to you? The Stakhan-san spoke. She left the car and opened up an umbrella. She found her falling raindrops with tears as always. I carefully reached down and rubbed the ankle as I twisted. There was still some pain and a little bit of weirdness, but they weren't that bad anymore. Rather than being happy about how lively the wound was, I first regretted this whole thing. If I hadn't twisted my ankle, I could have taken the opportunity of killing Takana-san right there and then. I'm trying to kill everyone. There probably wasn't much doubt that Takana-san was convinced I was involved in some sort of crime. If she knew about everything happening with Toko, then she might have guessed I'd killed someone. But didn't she say that she just didn't care earlier as well? I think Takana-san opened the passenger side for me. Hello. You sure you don't need my shoulders? I wouldn't mind doing it for you again. I ignored her and answered by getting out of the car by myself. The rain was still pretty intense. I got my bicycle out of my backseat, and I was a bit curious who the other bicycle belonged to, but that didn't matter right now. I took Takana-san hold the umbrella over me, then pushed my bike to the front door. Thank you very much, I'll be fine now. My ankle hurt so much earlier and it still did, but it aggravated me that it hadn't been that bad. It was really seriously bad luck. Alright, I'll be taking my leave then. Keep a secret that we had a nice evening drive by ourselves. Especially from Gio-san. Gio-san? Oh, she meant Takana-san. Tomitake-san. I suppose she calls him by his first name. His full name was, Gio Tomitake then. And then, the other bike that floated on the backseat I didn't care about first suddenly came to mind. Excuse me, you're from Himizawa, right? And the day before yesterday, as I was walking near the dam, half asleep, Tomitake-san had talked to me. And the bicycle he'd been riding it was... That bicycle in the back belongs to Tomitake-san, doesn't it? Takana-san's eyes in there sharpened for a moment. And why do you think that? I saw when I met him before. The frame stood out to me. But wouldn't that be odd? Do you think it's possible for this to be Gio-san's bike? Odd, huh? Takana-san, hair elegantly fluttering, peered into my eyes. Well, there are no beds and breakfasts in Himizawa, are they? Gio-san would need to be staying in town. Is that so? Well, I guess that's right, huh? You can't really walk from town to Himazawa, can you? There are no buses either. You at least need a bicycle. She didn't need to tell me that. That's why Gio-san was riding a bike. For Gio-san's bicycle to be stored in my car, and him not be there, that would be strange, wouldn't it? It would mean Gio-san was in Himazawa without a bike. I would have to have left Gio-san somewhere and put his bike in the car, wouldn't I? It wouldn't make sense. As she spoke to Kana-san made eyes like a hawk. Unfortunately, I didn't really understand what was so odd. Hmm? So you killed Tomitaka-san, then you killed yourself? What about this is odd? Aren't you and Tomitaka-san friends? I don't think it would be strange for that to be a reason you had his bicycle in your car. Well, it would be. What I mean is Gio-san and his bicycle would be in different places in Himazawa wouldn't make sense. For those reasons, it means his bicycle can't be his. Do you understand now? Kana-san's roundabout way of speak was hard to comprehend. The eeriness I could feel, that vague dreadfulness, I didn't like it at all. But the most wild, instinctive part of me warned me not to cry. That's not my bicycle. Gio-san picked it out for me, though, so I can't deny that it looks alike. That's my bicycle. I see now. I thought it looked similar. And you and I never saw each other tonight. And now she was talking about something completely different. What are you talking about? You and I never saw each other tonight. I stayed there not knowing what to say, until Kana-san maybe Sakinat phrase to me again. You and I never saw each other tonight. You and I never met this night. You and I never saw each other tonight. Something cold and unpleasant crawled up my spine. Maybe because I killed a person with my own hands before. I mean, just earlier. Before I came to this conclusion that I only had one chance to beat this woman to death, to keep her quiet, and I couldn't hesitate. So I could tell she arrived at the very same conclusion. And this swarmed me again, and I wish I'd never met this woman. A faint sense like a rotten smell vision for this woman is no doubt the exact same sense that I was given off right now. Very peculiar aspiration, the lack of certainty I think in a human's life was certain, was for a purpose, one that only those who had risen above everything had. Actually, maybe I should have called it a nausea. And I didn't know how to explain this very well, but Kana-san was the exact same as me. In other words, someone who shouldn't have been here. Someone I shouldn't have let anyone know was here. Someone who would have wanted to see. And now that we could calmly pretend as though we never met. Yes, which meant that just like I wanted to have nothing to do with her, she didn't want anything to do with me either. She too wanted to make sure we never met. Both of us wished for the exact same thing. Ah, perfect. Our desires were the same, which meant the Kana-san's suggestion was extremely practical, and I wouldn't outright refuse. If that's fine with you, then sure, whatever. You and I didn't meet each other this night. You're right. That would be best for you too, wouldn't it? Why do you think that? Are you seriously asking me that? You can't figure that out on your own, boy. You cut me off with that condescending word, boy. Right in front of my house in a place most unsuited for killing. And yet there's a frozen thirst for blood in front of both of us. I would be killed right here, right now. Yeah, then I should definitely be in a heart as soon as we pass each other. Damn, like greasy sweat broke out of my body. That's right, if you want me, then you can come anytime. And when I read in my mind, she shook her head elegantly and turned on her heel. Oh, bye then. Good. I'm a kind person after all. What was good? How? Because she was kind? Was that it? I didn't get it. The grandson to her car. We didn't exchange any words of parting. I had performed a massive feat. Killing Toga's uncle, and yes, I didn't feel any accomplishment. But the holy night of Bodhishita-sama's curse, on which the taking of another life was allowed. And the terrible rainy night, when the demons wandered as agents of Bodhishita-sama's will. The demons were never supposed to meet, but surely they did. The demons parted away, and triumphantly. There was no reason for them to fight. Both of their objectives had been accomplished. With the rain coming like a waterfall, my eyes met Kana-san through the car windows. The female demon, her mouth twisted into a distorted, fearless smile. It was too late to kill her. Far too late. The very first moment we saw each other, had been my best chance. And in a reply like this, I was actually acutely aware of it. I should not have let her live. She beeped her horn quickly, then drove her car away into the delge. The one moment who knew what really happened tonight disappeared into the dark. As long as she was alive, this night would never truly end. Just get into an accident, I thought to myself. this downpour slip onto some mud or something, and fly face into a tree and die. That wasn't a delusion, a wild fantasy. It was an earnest wish. Yes, it was a command. Die, die. Keep your mouth shut for eternity, because I have no doubt you're wishing for me to die all the same. My curse upon her faded emptily, and Takano's tail light disappeared into utter darkness. The car's lights were completely out of sight now. The sound of the engine faded into the sound of the heavy rain was inaudible now. Yet I too took a turn on heel. Toward the curtains of this insane night. Opened my front door and ended it all. The way I walked towards the front door, I was covered in mud and made a squishing sound every step I took. Squish, squish. Don't worry, Kichimabara. Squish, squish. She'll die. Squish, squish. Her end will be a miserable as she is. How come there's like no talking thingy? I'll take her into some flames alive and let her dance until she's burned to a crisp. I'll burn her to ashes in the fire of hell itself until she's roasted as much as she deserves. I wish, I really do. Squish. Huh? Just now, I hadn't taken a step, and yet, a footstep. With that emotion I turned around. If there was a footprint that wasn't my own, then it obviously was someone else behind me. Was someone else there? I was sick of this. Wherever it was, I was sick of everything tonight. This time I would kill them. I'd kill them without a second thought. I wouldn't hesitate. I'd turn around and dig another hole. But fortunately, there was nobody there. I wasn't going to try to kill any more people tonight. Tonight I couldn't handle any more of it. Even if I had an extra footstep each time I stopped, I'd put it down to me just being tired. Oh, that's like the footsteps from chapter 1. There weren't there in chapter 2 though. I guess they returned in chapter 3. Higurashi when they cry. Any tips this time, by the way? Yeah. Fire from Hell and Tomb of the 5th Year. Taking extra steps. Okay. Yeah, there's 2. Fire from Hell, first of all. What's this? Second one's probably a police report. Hello. Do you need the hospital or the fire department? The fire department. The fire department. Is there a fire or some sort of incident? Please speak slowly and calmly. I think it's a fire. This is the rest area on the highway. I can see a ton of fire and smoke coming from the mountains behind us. Oh, is it Takano-san again? Nobody goes back there, so I don't know why anything got lit on fire. Anyway, I figured I should let you know. It could turn into a forest fire. I understand. I need to know exactly where you are, so please tell me your name and a phone number you can use to get in touch with you and the exact location of the fire. Notice from the fire department headquarters. We have a report of a suspicious fire on the west slope of Mount. Given its distance from the road, it could be a couple's bonfire or someone unlawfully burning trash. Location is deep in the mountain woods. No homes in the area, but the fire could spread. Immediately go to the site to verify. Is this the fire station? This is the district fire department branch. We arrived moments ago at the reported site. Fire confirmed to be a burning oil drum left in the mountains. The fire is calming and there's no chance it will spread. And this body? Well, in the oil drum, I think it might be a person. Like a person burnt with kerosene or something. Well, I think maybe we should get the police over here. There's no mistake here. This is a person. Nice. The kind of son's dead, just like I wished. Victim of the 5th year. There's 4 victims. No, there's actually only 3. This year's curse then. That's what it looks like. He kills them differently every year, but this is particularly conspicuous, isn't it? Throwing out your own throat. That isn't normal. Oh, it's tummy tack. Let's leave the rest to the old man in the forensics. I'm sure he'll find some suspicious drug. Thank you. Thank you for your hard work. Oh, Ushi-san, Kamiya-san and the others have arrived. Does that mean Orishino-sama possesses someone? The one who disappears? Is that why they disappear because they're already dead? Ushi-san had much appreciated. Well, it would seem we have a pretty crazy one this year. Yes, we've been outsmarted. I was absolutely under the impression Teppa Hojo would get killed tonight. Who is the deceased? Gio Tomitak, a photographer with a hobby for coming to Himizawa a few times a year. We didn't have him marked. I wonder what happened. Did they realize we were watching the Hojo residents the whole time and decided to switch their target? Maybe. We sure fumbled this one. Are there no problems with Teppa Hojo? Correct. His daughter left the festival in the evening, and a little while later he left on his motorcycle. His daughter came back first. Wait. Has he not come back yet? Is he still out drinking somewhere? Yoshi-san, are you there? Call from Chief Takishi. He's online in car 1. Why, did you find the body already? Maybe. Anyway. That should be for this time, so bye bye.